Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is March 9th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery here. You can see this system developing off our coastline. It's eventually going to pivot across the area as we go on in through the day tomorrow, bringing some significant snowfall across some of the higher terrain, especially hitting Oregon, Idaho, and Montana quite hard. We're going to bring some strong winds with this system here as well. It should start later on tonight. We'll take a look at those details coming up. We'll look at the extended forecast as well. Now, taking a look here, you can see those east winds here with the position at low pressure center. We're going to get some offshore winds coming through the gaps. Here you can see Gold Bar, North Bend, Enumclaw, Maple Valley getting some gusty winds, trying to make it all the way out towards SeaTac. Kind of a typical feature of the Stampede Gap as these winds kind of try to make their way out to SeaTac here. It lines up just right with that area out towards SeaTac here, and it can hit Kent East Hill and Covington and areas like that with some strong winds at times also. So that's a Stampede Gap causing that issue there. Now, look at this. Cascade snowfall here, mainly about 1,500 feet. Look at Snoqualmie Pass, a foot to foot and a half there. Stevens Pass up towards a foot there. Thursday night through Friday, rapidly changing road conditions. So heads up if you're traveling across Highway 2, I-90, White Pass down there across the Cascade Mountains. Spring forward this Sunday. So here we go. We're going to extend our evenings here, and we're going to go on. I kind of can't wait here. I like it when the sun sets later on in the evening. So yeah, the sunsets are going to be after 7 p.m. after this weekend coming up here. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this, but just the heads up that it is this weekend. So taking a look across some of the higher terrain of Idaho here, you can see the valley down here, but Idaho Falls getting some nice snowfall, Blackfoot, Pocatello as well, and pretty substantial snowfall for some of the higher terrain. As you can see, Fairfield there, look at Old Faithful out there towards Wyoming, Jackson out there as well, Swan Valley. Nice snowfall incoming here with this storm system. It's got some decent moisture to work with, and it's going to move across the entire region. Now, what is a snow squall? You guys might have been hearing about this on weather.gov. Intense burst of snow and wind, short duration usually, whiteout visibility, rapidly deteriorating road conditions. So if you get those warnings, sometimes they pop up on your phone or whatnot, or you're checking out weather.gov, you might see some of this information there. And this is for Missoula, Montana, talking about the potential for those snow squalls. The blue is actually higher, including Butte, Montana there. Missoula is included in that probability there as well. And across Lookout Pass on I-90 there. So heads up if you're traveling on I-90, Highway 15, across Montana there on in through Idaho. Now, this is Friday through Saturday, northwest Montana snow. This is a good graphic here. Just kind of gives you the roundup. Elevations below 4,000 feet, 1 to 5. Above 4,000, 5 to 10 there. And you can see the difficult travel possibility out there. Now, this is the highest wind gust Thursday and Friday. This is down for Medford. The storm is impacting them as well. Some gusty winds in the coastline, not too crazy. But once you get towards the higher terrain and off to the east, you can see these big wind gusts out there, including Crater Lake. Look at that forecast 66 mile per hour gust out there. Watch out for that difficult travel conditions, especially for the high profile vehicles down there. Some gusty winds on I-5 going across Northern California to Southern Oregon there as well. This is the snowfall potential down there. Look at Crater Lake up towards 2 feet. Diamond Lake as well. Look at Warner Mountain. Klamath Falls 1 to 2 inches, so not as much as the higher terrain, of course, but look at Siskiyou Summit 4 to 6. That's on I-5 there, so heads up. Travel is going to be difficult across the region here at time. Mount Shasta City picking up towards a foot of snow as well. This is the current hazards. You can see all the winter storm warnings in effect. Does include some of the coastal range here of Oregon. The winter weather advisory starting up here across the Cascades. They may be extended here over the next few hours today and on in through tomorrow, especially for places like eastern Washington as well, as the storm's going to clip that area quite nicely as well. And you can see all the winter storm warnings across Idaho. You got wind advisories, winter weather advisory, you got high wind warnings out there. Pretty dynamic storm system moving across the area here. Now, here's the day one thunderstorm outlook. It's really not the main threat with the storm. You might hear a clap of thunder there, mainly along the Oregon coast there. Now, this is taking a look at Washington, Oregon here, and you can see this system as it develops off the coastline there. And this is about when these winds are going to kick up. There's offshore winds coming through the gaps here. And you can see this precipitation really moving up across Oregon here. Prolonged snowfall for some areas, especially the higher terrain. You can see this really getting eastern Washington quite nicely here too. It might get some moderate snow at times as you go through the day Friday before it finally starts to wane on Saturday. It might still have some ongoing showers across the Cascades here before another system starts to arrive here as we go on in through later this weekend into early next week. Now, taking a look here, this is 80-meter wind speeds here. If I put this into motion, you can see the low pressure system off the coastline here, and you'll see it develop right there. And you can see these offshore winds start rolling across the Cascade Mountains here. Might get some gusty winds through the gorge, but it's really a little bit too far north for the really strong winds to come through the gorge here. But expect those strong winds mainly across the Washington Cascade. Some of the higher terrain, like I saw in that Medford graphic down there, have some higher winds out for eastern Oregon down here, especially southern eastern Oregon as well. Some of the Blue Mountains. Put that into motion here, and you can see the low pressure center start to pivot across the area here. Then we reverse the wind, so we start to bring some stronger westerly gusts across some of the east slopes of the Cascades here, and the strong wind continues in the wake of that system there for eastern Oregon. Now this is looking at max 10-meter wind gust here accumulated. Put that into motion. You can see those east winds up there get all the way up towards SeaTac there. So Kenny's Till, Covington, North Bend, Maple Valley, you guys know the typical areas out there are going to get some nice gusty winds. Southern Oregon is going to get hit, Blue Mountains there as well, and put that into motion all the way through Friday. You can see that low pressure system move out of the area there. Now taking a look here, total snow-Kuchera ratio in inches, and you can see we kind of get skunked here across western Washington with this round, but it's going to hit the Cascades of Oregon, Washington, some of northeast Washington as well, and there's going to be some nice snowfalls down here. It might be clipping I-90 here. Highway 2 is going to get a little bit better amounts out of this. Blue Mountains there, and I saw there was some snow flying across the Willamette Valley this morning. I believe that was on social media there, but you can see the big amounts coming through Idaho and Montana here coming up as well. Now looking right now, this is the European, this is last night's run, this is the control run. It goes out, the control ensemble run, it goes out 144 hours. You can see this system move across the region there. We get another system kind of hanging on off our coastline here as we reinforce this trough and remain active all the way in through Tuesday night here. So yeah, the active weather is going to continue here, folks. We'll take a look at the GFS now to see if we can look at it a little farther and try to pinpoint some of this ridging that looks like it might come in our extended. But you can see first system, troughing remains offshore here. We pivot that system through. We reinforce this trough over the Gulf of Alaska. And then, do you believe that we retrograde this low far enough back that we can get some ridging over the Pacific Northwest and maybe string a couple nice days together here? Maybe, maybe not. We'll keep an eye on this as we go day by day upcoming here. Now taking a look here, this is 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. You can see clearly the below average signal here across Pacific Northwest, highlighted by that troughing offshore there. You can see the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. The west is included here, 8 to 14 day. Not much is changing day to day here, 8 to 14 day precipitation kind of favoring the southwest there. Now this is looking at brand new ENSO, El Nino, La Nina conditions here. And this is going all the way back to July 2021. And you can see here the observations of the actual sea surface temperatures across the equatorial Pacific are shown in blue here. And then you can see the models, how they did with their forecasts. Some of the models had it trying to climb out back towards neutral and El Nino a little bit early, but the vast majority did pretty well over the last few years here. So you can see just a good example here of just how useful some of the weather models, especially in climate, can be here. And you can see how they've been calling for this climb out of La Nina conditions for a while now. If you've been watching the page, you know over the last few months it's been calling for this climb out into neutral and eventually El Nino conditions here. So it seems to be doing quite well as we are now officially out of La Nina conditions across the equatorial Pacific. So nice job by the models there. And this is what's coming up for the future. So we're right now here in March, we're out of La Nina conditions. We should be in neutral conditions probably until late summer, early fall coming up here. And you can see kind of the variation in some of these models shown there. This is looking at the probability here. You can see neutral conditions are in effect now, virtually 100%, because we're actually in those conditions. But as we go through spring on into summer, you can see El Nino really increase its probability here as we go into August, September, October, November here. We're up over 60% here as we go on into fall. And you'll notice this is just a probability forecast. You can see La Nina down here. It doesn't say 0%, highly unlikely at this point. And a neutral, you can't rule out a neutral year also, much better odds for that, but more like 1 in 3 versus 2 in 3 for the El Nino coming up here. So we'll see how the models do on this. We'll watch this. We get these monthly updates here, and there's actually some weekly updates that update the actual temperature of the sea surface conditions out there across the equatorial Pacific. So we'll watch that as we go week by week and month by month. It's kind of fun to watch this transition and see how the models are handling it. So far, they're doing pretty darn well, and we'll see. Are we headed towards La Nina or... And before we go here, we're going to need to identify these people who won the weather stations. 3 people. You can check out the community comment there I put out. And if you are on that list there, make sure to contact me, email me. My email is in the YouTube page here, or you can direct message me on Twitter, Seattle Weather Guy, and get a hold of me here, because if you don't claim your prize, we're gonna redo that giveaway here and give it to somebody else. So yeah, let me know if you won that contest out there yesterday, and yeah, we'll just go ahead and do this again tomorrow as per normal, and we'll watch this storm roll in here and watch the snow continue to fall. We're going to remain active here with the troughing across Pacific Northwest. The models keep hinting at maybe some ridging off in the extended here, but it kind of seems to get pushed back from time to time. So we'll just watch that day by day as we go. But anyway, glad you guys are stopping by. Hope you're having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.